Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Pranams to Swamiji. Welcome. We are celebrating the 145th Jayanthi here. Actually, this must be the third celebration in the sense we celebrated on December 17th, 30th, now here in the ashram on January 11th. I'd like to speak a few words about the Swamiji, Sarvapriyananda. Probably we all know so very well that through the social media like YouTube, Facebook, probably, I don't know, Spotify, I don't have an account. Swami Sarvapriyananda has been the minister and spiritual leader of Vedanta Society of New York since January 2017. He joined the Ramakrishna Math in 1994 and received the sannyasa in 2004. He served as an acharya of the monastic probationers training center at Belur Math, India. He also served in various capacities in different educational institutes of the Ramakrishna Mission in India and as the assistant minister of the Vedanta Society of Southern California. During 2019 and 20, he was a Nagral fellow at the Harvard Divine School. Swami Sarvapriyananda is a well-known speaker on Vedanta, and his talks are extremely popular globally via the internet. He has been a speaker on various prestigious forums like TED, SAND, Google Talk, etc., apart from the YouTube. He has also been invited to speak at several universities across the world, including Harvard University. The Swamiji has engaged in dialogue with many eminent thinkers all over the world. He has played a prominent role in organizing and participating in various interfaith panels and seminars, including speaking at the World Parliament of Religions in Toronto in 2018 and at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Swamiji has been always extremely graceful to us. Even last September, he spoke at the September 30th for the 100th anniversary celebration of Sri Ramanashama. He came first to the ashram in 2017, and he has made subsequently, whenever we have called him for global satsang, virtually also, he has participated, and it is such a pleasure, and we are so blessed to welcome Swami Sarvapriyananda. He will now speak and also take the question and answer at the end of the talk. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramanaya. Dear Mohanji, dear friends, thank you for inviting me back here amongst you again. I have this strong sense of homecoming. When you come to Bhagavan Ramana, you have this sense of homecoming, and it is not surprising. The reason being, Bhagavan Ramana is the embodiment, is the manifestation of our own self, of the Atman, of the Pratyagatman, our own inner self. So whenever you come to Ramana, you're coming back to yourself. And if those who can feel it, they're very fortunate. I was reading yesterday this wonderful collection by Sri Muruganar of Bhagavan Ramana's teachings. which is published under the collection. The title is called Padamalai. It is in its English edition is available. David Godman has nicely translated. I don't know if he translated, but he edited it definitely and enriched it with a lot of footnotes and quotations and all that. Yesterday I was reading it, and yesterday I was reading it, and I think the child. Yeah, I'm sorry. You have to. Bhagavan Ramana would not be bothered, but we are lesser mortals. So my attention gets thrown off. Swami Vivekananda said, I am fully convinced, even when the child is babbling, is speaking the highest philosophy, only we do not understand its language. It's trying to express something. Yesterday I was reading the first teaching of Bhagavan Ramana, which is there in that collection, the second chapter. It starts with the first sentence. Bhagavan says, the self is not something that is known or unknown. It is knowledge itself. Within brackets, Murugana has put jnana. It is knowledge itself. And I was reminded of literally the words of the Kenopanishad. Not that Bhagavan is quoting from the Kenopanishad. Bhagavan is speaking directly from experience. So, that's why when you look into the face of Bhagavan, you see it's like just light shining through. The personality there is erased. We see the personality of Ramana Maharshi, but for him, from his perspective, there's no personality at all. So when he's speaking directly from that experience itself is speaking to us. And he's telling us our own self, his teaching of find out who you are, the central teaching, that is not something to be known. It is also not something unknown. It is knowledge itself. And I was reminded of the Kena Upanishad, which we are now studying in the Vedanta Society in New York, where the teacher says that what is that the teaching, how to realize the self. Anya deva tadvedita datho avidita datadhi iti sushruma purvesham ye nastadvyacha zakshire. It is other than the known, and it is other than the unknown. And thus we have heard from the lineage of teachers of Brahma Vidya. So in that Kena Upanishad, we find that the student asks a remarkable question. It's a dialogue between the student and the teacher. The student asks a very remarkable question. Kene shitam patati preshitam mana kena prana pratama prayeti ayuktaha kene shitam vacham yamam vadanti chakshu shrotram kaudeva yunakti. Student is asking that impelled by what, instigated by what, inspired by what, do these thoughts come to my mind? What guides or illumines the prana, the functioning of the physiological forces in this body, which keeps this body alive, life itself? From what source do these words emerge, this experience of speaking? What illumines that source, that the experience of speaking? Our eyes and ears, chakshu shrotra. What luminous being, kau deva yunakti. What luminous being illumines the experience of seeing? Just now we are seeing, we are hearing. But these are all conscious experiences. Thinking is a conscious experience. Speaking is a conscious experience. Breathing, life itself is a conscious experience. Our seeing and hearing is a conscious experience. What is this light which illumines all our experiences? It's a fundamental question about consciousness, which has become so relevant these days now, thanks to AI and all that, and also in consciousness studies, in philosophy, in many places, this question right now, we are living in this time when whether computer scientists or philosophers of mind, psychologists, brain scientists, we are asking the question afresh. This has been a question which has exercised humanity from the beginning of time. The Kenu Upanishad, thousands of years ago, raises this question. And today we are again raising the question. We still have not been able to solve the mystery of what this consciousness is. That question, 5,000 years ago. I often quote Professor Evan Thompson, who is a professor of philosophy at the University of British Columbia. He begins his book, Waking, Dreaming, Being. It's a book on Vedanta, neuroscience, Buddhism, especially on neuroscience and philosophy. And he begins it by saying that consciousness studies is not a new subject, not a new discipline. It began 5 millennia ago in the Indo-Gangetic plains, where the rishis of the Upanishads, they asked these questions which we are asking today again. And he says there, these Upanishads are so significant in human thought that we would do well, I'm quoting from Evan Thompson, we would do well to date our history as not AD and BC, but as before Upanishad and after Upanishad. He's saying that. And the teacher's answer is also very remarkable. The teacher's answer, he says, Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoya Vachoha Vacham Sau Pranasya Pranaha Chakshushas Chakshurati Muchya Dhira Pretyasmad Lokadamrita Bhavanti. Remarkable answer. What is the answer? What you are asking. What is that light by which we see, our ears are able to hear, eyes are able to see, thoughts we can experience? You want to know by what light the ears are able to hear? The answer is, it is the ear of the ear. Mysterious answer. By what is the mind if you are experiencing thoughts, feelings, emotions? Mind. It is the mind of the mind. By what are you getting the experience of speaking? By now the student must have understood. I understand. Speech of the speech. Yes, it is speech of the speech. How are we able to see? Is it eye of the eye? Yes, it's eye of the eye. What does he mean by this? If we look a little more deeply into it, three things stand out. One is the nature of consciousness, the nature of the self. That is the question. What is the nature of the self? What is the nature of conscious experience? First, it is something that is distinct from the eyes, ears, mind, speech, prana. Shrotrasya Shrotram. How do you explain the experience of hearing? Well, by studying the auditory system, you cannot explain it. It is the ear of the ear. It is distinct from the ear. So ear of the ear means something distinct from the ear. The second thing is, though it is distinct from the ear, he is still using the word ear of the ear. He did not say something entirely different from the ear. It means something which is distinct from the ear, but it is right there in the ear itself, making the ear do what it is designed to do. It is right there in the eyes itself, making the eyes do what it's designed to do. It's there in the speech, it's there in the prana, making them do what they are designed to do. And a third feature is that, notice, it is one. The question was, how do I think? How do I get the experience of seeing? How do I get the experience of talking and all of that? Are they different? They're all different systems after all. If you go to a library, a medical college, you will have separate sections on the eyes, separate section on the ears, separate section on vocal cords. And so they are all separate medical specialties. Some of you are doctors. They are vast areas of knowledge and they're quite different from each other. He is not asking that. He is not asking, please explain the physiology of the eyes. Please explain the psychology of the mind. They're all different subjects. He is not asking that. So what is he asking? The answer there is, although the systems are all different, the one which gives us conscious experience in all these systems is one and the same, is that one consciousness. So 3 points come out from this language, a strange language: ear of the ear, mind of the mind, eye of the eye, prana of the prana, speech of the speech. 3 points come out. Settle down, baby. So 3 points come out from here. One is that what you're asking for is distinct from the physiology, the psychology, the different organs. It's distinct. It's not one of those things. The second is that one is present here in these systems, in this eyes, ears, and all. And third is it is one. Although the eyes and the ears and the speech and the mind, they're all very different from each other. What you're asking for is one reality, one light. A good example to understand all of this is electricity. I love that example. So we have so many gadgets here. There's a light which is illumining the room. There's a microphone which is magnifying sound. There is a mobile phone. There are these devices which are recording. Now, if somebody asks that these devices were not doing anything when they were in the shop, in the box. Now, what got into them, because of which the light is shining? This microphone is amplifying sound. That device is recording the talk. This other device by which you can talk on the phone, and so on and so forth. Each device is doing something very different from the other. But they were not doing anything when they were in the box or in the shop. What got into it? We will immediately answer only one thing: electricity. Now, the electricity is something which is distinct from all of these devices. And it is one thing. And it is present in each of these devices and makes them do different things. They were designed to do different things. They're able to do that by the presence of electricity. That example is up to that much only. Don't extend the example any further. So, consciousness, the pure consciousness, the Atman, the self is like that. That all these different conscious first-person experiences in the sensory system, in our mind, in our motor organs like speech and walking and talking and our physiology, they are all possible because of the presence of this one thing, which is distinct from these different systems, one, which is present in these different systems, making them do what they are doing, two, and which is one. The systems are many. Eyes, ears, mind are all many and diverse, but that consciousness is one reality only. So all of this is implied by this language: ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. One may ask, why such language? Why not say it directly? Say consciousness. And the reason is, the Upanishad is a remarkable teacher. You see it again in Bhagavan, Ramana. He's a remarkable teacher, a skillful teacher. If you directly said, oh, it is Atman, Brahman, consciousness, then we would go out searching for something called Atman, Brahman, consciousness. You'll never find it. As Bhagavan says, it is not something to be known. So, it is being taught in such a way which gives us a chance of realizing it directly. Directly, we are pointed to our conscious experience, our living experience, the experience we are having right now. And from that, a way is given to trace it back to who we are, our real nature. That is the skill of the Upanishad. And then the Upanishad goes on to say, if you realize this, then what will happen? Pretyasmat lokad amrita bhavanti. Atimuchya dhira. The phrase used is, those wise ones, those patient ones, those qualified seekers. Atimuchya is a very nice, very interesting word. It means they are freed, where while being here, in this body, in this life, in these activities, in the midst of the world, in the midst of seeing, hearing, talking, smelling, breathing, thinking, in the midst of that, you're free of all of this, you remain as pure consciousness only. So, and it says, Pretya asmat lokad amrita bhavanti, which has two meanings. It means that thus realizing yourself as pure consciousness, you transcend the bodily existence, you transcend the mental existence in two ways. One is, while the body is alive, you realize, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am the witness consciousness. This is called Jivan Mukti, living like that. the most powerful demonstration of which was Bhagavan Ramana. And when the body goes away, that also, Pretyasmat Lokat means giving up the body. That is called Kaivalya Mukti or Videha Mukti. Freedom, the bodiless freedom. So the whole of Vedanta is taught in this phrase, this mantra. Ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. The one transcends this bodily mental existence while realizing, when you realize your pure consciousness. Thus the result will be Jivan Mukti while the body is alive and Videha Mukti when the body falls away. The whole of the teaching is given here. And naturally the student is very eager. How do I realize it? Please show me this Atman, pure consciousness. And the teacher says dramatically, I don't know. I can't show you. He says, Na tatra vag gacchati, na chakshur gacchati, no manaha, na vidmo, na vijanimo, yatheita anushishyat. The teacher says to the student, I cannot explain it because words cannot capture it. Because words require certain characteristics. Language requires certain characteristics. So linguistic use cannot capture the essence of the Atman. What is being taught here cannot be adequately expressed in language. Whatever you say will be wrong, will not be quite correct. Even this Upanishadic saying, that's also, it shows why this elliptical use of language is there. Not directly saying it. If you say it directly, guaranteed misunderstanding. If you say it indirectly like this, then also more or less guaranteed misunderstanding, but some chance is there of grasping it at least. Na vag gacchati. Na chakshur gacchati. So chakshu here means eyes, but by extension it means all the sense organs. So this Atman, the self, it cannot be seen. Why not? Because it does not have a form. To see you need a form. It cannot be heard. Why not? Because it does not have shabda, sound. It cannot be tasted. It cannot be touched. It cannot be smelled. So the sense organs cannot objectify consciousness. Language cannot objectify consciousness. Mind, we feel consciousness in the mind? No. What we feel are thoughts, emotions, ideas, which are objects to consciousness. So the mind also cannot objectify consciousness. And therefore, na vidmo na vijanimo yatheita danushisya. We do not, we the teachers, he says, we the masters, we do not know it. It's a careful use of the term. We do not know it means we understand. We do not know it as an object. He is alerting, the master is alerting the student, flagging this thing that when you say realization of the self, enlightenment, it's not that you know the self like you know this table or you know that person out there or you see the sky, not in that sense. It cannot be done. Nor do we know any method by which you can become enlightened. Any others can teach? No. As a student is of course disappointed. So why are we sitting here in Ramana Ashram on a perfectly good Saturday morning if you say now that you cannot become enlightened? No, you can become enlightened. But there, the special teaching which the teacher will give, I will see exactly what Bhagavan Ramana begins. The first thing that Muruganar has chosen in the Padamalai. What is that teaching? The teacher says, Anyadeva tadviditad atho aviditadadhi iti shushrumapur vesham yenastadvyacha chakshire. It is other than the known, other than the unknown. And this is how the ancient teachers of Brahma Jnana, Brahma Vidya have taught. So this is the lineage of teaching. And it has passed down to us. We are transmitting it to you. Let's see if it works. You become enlightened or not. It is other than the known. Why it is other than the known? Because what is knowledge after all? Knowledge is something that we see or hear or smell. And right now what we are doing, this is knowledge. Something that we speak about or read. Language, can it be captured by language? That is knowledge. Sanskrit is a very powerful medium for philosophy. But even Sanskrit cannot capture it. Today we have mathematics. Powerful language in science which can express many things very precisely. But mathematics, language of mathematics is also a language that cannot capture it. Language cannot capture it. Linguistic use cannot express the Atman. Mentally, can we think of the Atman? Can we conceive? After all, we are. Right now, we are all trying. We are all trying to get it, understand it, conceive of it mentally. No. Have you conceived of it? Have you got clarity? Have you understood it? Yes. What you have understood is wrong. Why? Why? Because whatever we understand or we do not understand, all the activities of the mind right now are being illumined, are lit up, so to say, by that same light. But that light cannot be objectified by the mind. All thoughts are presented to you, the consciousness. But no thought can objectify that consciousness. If you have a light, a torchlight, a flashlight, in America it's a flashlight. With that flashlight, you can illumine everything in a dark room. But if somebody says, illumine the flashlight itself by that light, you can't. If you turn it around, the flashlight is behind it then. So the Atman, consciousness, it cannot objectify itself. Everything else is an object to it. So it says, the teacher says, Bhagavan Ramana says, the Atman, the self, which you are supposed to know. See what a difficult position is putting us in. Find out who you are. Know yourself. So all right, I will try, but you cannot know yourself. So it is not an object. Therefore, anya devatad viditad. This whole universe can be divided. Whole universe can be divided into two. What we know and what we do not know. Right now, what do we know? Whatever we are seeing and hearing right now, we know that. And in our minds, there is memory, there is some knowledge which we have studied, there is some general awareness. That's our knowledge, that's what we know. And we are surrounded by a vast sea of the unknown. So many things we do not know. We don't know what's outside there. What's going on in the garden there itself, we don't know right now. So there is a whole range of the unknown. The whole universe for us is known and unknown. Now this Atman, this consciousness, this self which you are asking, is it known? He says no. Oh, I see. So it is unknown. What is unknown? We can know it afterwards. We can try to know it. He says no, it's not even unknown. It is other than the known, it's other than the unknown. You can broaden the scope of this answer. Instead of the known and the unknown, you can make it whatever is known and knowable. There are many things in this universe which we don't know, but they are knowable. In the garden, what's happening there, we don't know, but we can go out and see. Then we will know. So there is the whole range of things which are knowable. And there is something which is unknowable. In mathematics, right here, there was this great mathematician, Gödel. Gödel's incompleteness theorem, there he said famously that there are theorems which are true, but you cannot prove it to be true. The proof you cannot know whether it can be proved or not. So that is in the realm of unknowability in mathematics. There is a school here in Manhattan. It's called the college. It's called the New School. A few years ago, there was a seminar, workshop, which they held. It was called, the theme was very interesting. Unknowability. So unknowability in physics, unknowability in mathematics, unknowability in history, unknowability in literature. Very interesting. So there is a whole area which is unknowable. Vedanta itself will say, what is unknowable? Maya itself is unknowable. You cannot make it an object of knowledge, so it's unknowable. Now, is the Atman, Brahman, our real nature, is it unknowable? He says, no, not even that. The whole universe is divided into the known or knowable and the unknown or unknowable. And it's neither. Then what is it? Then what is it? In the Taittiriya Upanishad, at this point, the student asks the teacher, then it doesn't exist. You are pulling a fast one on me. This Atman, Brahman, we are wild goose chase. Asad Brahma iti Veda chet. The student asks the teacher, then Brahman does not exist. The teacher answers, Asanneva sabhavati. Then you would not exist, but you do exist. We are talking about the self. You do exist. You are quite sure. The one thing we are sure about is we exist. I exist. The mathematician, philosopher Descartes, the French philosopher, he set out on his project of skepticism. Whatever can be doubted, I will doubt. Maybe the world doesn't exist. Today we can say like Matrix movie or something. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion, virtual reality. Maybe. And by doubting everything, he found one thing cannot be doubted. That is his famous conclusion. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I exist. I, the doubter, cannot be doubted. Try it. You can doubt everything. You can even doubt, do I exist? But to doubt that, you have to exist. So his conclusion was, this is one of the major breakthroughs in philosophy. 300 plus years ago. Cogito ergo sum. The thinker of the thought exists. The doubter exists in order to doubt. I cannot doubt my own existence. So I am not anything that is known. I am not anything that is unknown or unknowable. But then I am neither. But I cannot say that I don't exist. So what is it that exists, but it is not known and it is not unknown? What is it? It can only be one thing, the knower. The whole universe is presented to you, the knower, as the known and the unknown, as the knowable and the unknowable. But you are neither the known nor the unknown. Vivekananda said in London, he was giving a talk on Jnana Yoga. He said, you must not go away with the idea that it is unknown and unknowable. It is more than known. I love that phrase. It is more than known. It is first you, the consciousness, you, the Atman. Then only something is known or unknown. To you something is known, to you something is unknown. So that consciousness which we are, that is what Bhagavan is indicating. That I am that. That one consciousness to which the whole universe appears as the known and as the unknown. That whole universe includes this body also, includes this mind also. Therefore, whatever I am is not body, is not mind, because body and mind are in the realm of the known and the unknown. Body here I can see, part of it is known to me, another part of it is not known to me but known to the doctor, another part of it may be completely unknown. But all of this whole body is presented to me as the known and the unknown, to me the consciousness. I, the consciousness, am therefore more than known. So the first takeaway from here is, I do exist, but I am not an object. One must thoroughly hold on to this principle. I am not something that is known as an object or it is unknown as an object. Because when we say know yourself, find out who you are, we think it's a quest to get some kind of esoteric knowledge. Bhagavan says at the very beginning, he says you don't have to do that. It is not something to be known. It's also not something that is unknown. Then he adds, it is knowledge itself, within bracket, Muruganar has added jnana, consciousness. Not knowledge of an object, but consciousness itself, to which all knowledge happens. This is always present, this consciousness. Whenever we are experiencing anything at all, whenever we are seeing, we are hearing, right now, you are seeing, you are hearing, thinking, feeling. Whenever we have any kind of conscious experience, the consciousness is present. When we see many things, but consciousness is constant there, because I am conscious of seeing many things. We hear many things, consciousness is present. We smell, we taste. See, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, they are all so different from each other. But consciousness is constant to all of us. Otherwise, we would not have that first person experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, thinking, feeling, imagining, remembering, all the mental activities, understanding, all these mental activities. They are all many, they keep coming and going, they keep changing, they're different from each other. Consciousness is common to all of them. All our waking life, consciousness is common. All our dream life, when we fall asleep, this whole world goes away. Even the experience of this body goes away and a new experience starts, a dream experience. Consciousness is common there, same consciousness, which enabled our waking experience, enables our dream experience also. In deep sleep, when everything is erased, only absence. Consciousness is not absence. It is not the absence of experience, it's an experience of absence. There's an amazing thing to know about deep sleep. One sadhu said in the Himalayas, ये आपकी जागृत स्वप्न तो हल्की फुल्की अवस्था है महात्मा जी, असली गंभीर अवस्था है सुषुप्ति. Your waking and dreaming are superficial states. The really serious state, profound state is deep sleep. It's just the opposite of way we think. We think the really important state is this waking. This is where we are in the real world. And dream is, all right, something to be analyzed and told to our psychoanalyst. And deep sleep is nothing. And that monk says just the opposite. Because when you erase every knowable and the blankness, if that is also an experience, what does that tell you about yourself? In the absence of all so-called quote-unquote conscious experience, you are still conscious of the absence. So, it is continuously present. And it is present in the physical, in the subtle, in the causal. Sthula Sukshma Karana. Therefore, not only it is present, everything else undergoes change. This consciousness does not undergo change. These are all things to not only ponder about, but also notice in our lives. All change is in the object, not in the pure subject. I'm using my words very carefully. Pure subject, I'm saying. Because otherwise, our idea of the subject is a very mixed bag. It is consciousness plus mind plus personality. All change is there in the world. All change is there in the body. All change is there in the mind. But not in the witness consciousness. Not in the Sakshi. Therefore, the implication is, this Sakshi cannot die. That is a change. This Sakshi cannot be depressed. Depression is a mental change. This Sakshi cannot be sick. Sickness is a physical change, a physiological change in the body. What I am, if I am this Sakshi, this witness consciousness, I am immortal beyond death. I cannot die. Body will die. What I am, this Sakshi, I cannot be sick. Body can get sick. I cannot get old. The body gets old. I cannot get depressed. The mind gets depressed. Mind gets upset. But I am the witness of the upset mind. And I am the witness of the calm mind. I am the witness of the joyful mind. I am the witness of the depressed mind. I do not become joyful when the mind is joyful. I do not become depressed when the mind is depressed. I do not become old when the body is old and wrinkled and bent. I do not become sick when the body is sickly and the prana is having disease. So, I am the witness of all these changes. I am awake when the mind is awake. I am awake when the mind is dreaming. I am awake when the mind is sleeping. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. I am that constant awakeness. Think about the advantages of this, the benefit from this. You are delivered from the big problem, the problem of death, the biggie. More we contemplate this, we see that we cannot die. Oh yes, physical death will happen. But we need not be afraid. We will clearly see that I am not dead. I am not gone. The body is gone. No fear of death at all. And while living in this lifetime itself, we will be safe from the ups and downs, the vicissitudes of life, the arrows which kicks and blows which life throws at us. When the mind tends to get very upset for good reason, because as long as we think we are this little biological creature, as long as we think we are this person, psychological creature, it is logical to become upset. Because disease threatens the biological creature. An insult or a failure in the world threatens the psychological creature. But I, the witness consciousness, I am not threatened by anything. I am safe from the ups and downs of this world. Worth thinking about. And it's always there. Where Muruganar points out, Bhagavan Ramana says, it is always attained. What will you attain? When we become enlightened, we realize, what do we realize? That, oh, earlier I was the body, now I am Atma, very good, big achievement. No, we will realize I was always the Atma, somehow I didn't see it. And then Bhagavan cautions, don't try to attain, don't try to become the Atman. Don't try to objectify the Atman. Don't try to become the Atman. You are. You cannot. You have no choice in the matter. You are choicelessly free. You are choicelessly mukta. You are choicelessly Atman or Brahman, without any effort at all. Then what do we do? He uses a very beautiful phrase there. He says, Bhagavan Ramana says, that whole purpose is to give up this, to train the mind to give up this addiction to the not self. This addiction to the not self. I've never seen that phrase anywhere else. The problem is not, the task is not to objectify the self. You cannot. The task is not to find out what is Brahman and then I am Brahman somehow. You cannot. Because you are Brahman anyway. It's like trying to turn the flashlight around and trying to illumine the light of the flashlight. You cannot. But what we can do, this constant misidentification with the body and the mind, this we can cure. And this constant being busy with worldliness. You can be active in the world. I remember Swami Damodaranji, very senior monk of our order who passed away at the age of 96. He spent some time with Bhagavan Ramana in Arunachal there. And he told me his reminiscences. We wrote down the reminiscences. It was published in Mountain Path. So he was saying, he used to sit with Bhagavan Ramana when the Maharshi was engaged in the simple task of, dressing vegetables, cutting vegetables for cooking. Every task, cleaning, cooking, administration, whatever, he would help. He would help. He would be quite practical in day-to-day activities. And quite particular also. So, one can be fully engaged in this life. And yet, know yourself as the witness consciousness completely unaffected by all this. It's like the screen of the movie. On the screen, you can play many movies. Screen is not affected. A big fire is now going on in Los Angeles. If you show a movie of the fire, will the screen be burned? No. If you have a big storm, will the screen be touched by the snow? No. If there is a flood, will the screen get wet? No. Similarly, witness consciousness, it enables all experiences, but without getting affected. Another insight. This witness consciousness which we are is one in all beings. It is not different. That is why we get the feeling of coming home when we come to Bhagavan Ramana. He is between the personality and the Atman there is no gap at all. It's Atman alone shining forth. That Atman there is your Atman, is my Atman. Rather, more precisely, is you and I, our real nature there. That's why we feel we're coming home. If that was a different quote-unquote Atman, and that was a different Atman, and I was a different Atman, then I would not get the feeling of coming home when I come to Bhagavan Ramana. Because it is my home. It is your home. It is your real nature. So it is one Atman in all bodies. Krishna says in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. O Arjuna, know me to be the knower of the field in all fields. In all these, the bodies are different fields. In all these fields, there is a sentient being, the knower of the field. But that sentient being has this core, this consciousness, this awareness, this light. And Krishna says, I am that light in all beings. So we are one consciousness. And therefore, love, and love expressed as service, it comes from that oneness, this sense of oneness with everybody. To a fully enlightened being, we are not different from him. We don't understand, but he understands. The enlightened one does not ever think of himself or herself as superior to anybody else, or as inferior. What do they think of themselves? As everybody. I am all of this. The universe, the entire universe, along with this body, along with that body, is presented to you, the consciousness. Either you are all of it or none of it. Either I am all of it, all of these, this also, or none of it. In either case, you are free. If you are all of it, sarvam khalvidam brahma, all of it is Brahman, aham brahmasmi, I am that Brahman. Or if I am none of it, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, it's an appearance. Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. Both ways it will work. But we don't do that. What we do is, I, the consciousness, I don't give any importance to that. Body is presented, mind is presented to me, the consciousness. I am this body, mind. And then, that's it. Stop, full stop. At the tip of my nails, I stop. Beyond this, not me. All that is not me. Although the whole thing is being presented in consciousness. In our dreams, when I'm walking around and talking with people in my dreams and seeing trees and birds and cars, when I wake up, that guy in the dream and whatever that guy saw and interacted with, whoever he saw and interacted with, the whole thing is I. Or all of it was a dream, I am none of that. But in a dream, what happens? I am only that guy, and everybody else is real and separate from me. That's how samsara starts. So Bhagavan says, to cure ourselves of this addiction to the not self, addiction to the object. Another new thing I read yesterday, a new idea I learned yesterday from reading the Padamalai. He says the general idea of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the way we are taught. We are taught one way of living in the world is you pursue what you want in the world. Pleasure, achievement, success. Pleasure is kama, desirable thing, sensuous pleasure. Achievement, success, this is wealth and power and whatever, success in the world. On the basis of, within the limits of dharma. So this is dharma, artha, kama. This is called pravritti lakshana dharma. That means religion which is meant for, there's a word, abhyudaya, worldly prosperity. Having a good life in this world, and after death going to a variety of heavens, a good life here and hereafter. Religion does that. That's one purpose. The karma kanda of the Vedas is meant for that. The higher purpose of religion is we are taught moksha, God realization, self-realization, freedom from this cycle of not a good life here and hereafter, freedom from here and hereafter, release from this cage of flesh and bones. Because right now what we are doing is, once this cage falls, we are put into another cage. And then that cage, it dies, we are put into another cage. We're going from cage to cage, transferred from one zoo to another zoo to another zoo. That's our life. Freedom from this prison or series of prisons. This is moksha. We are taught that. So that is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma, moral, ethical life. Kama, the pursuit of desire, controlled by dharma. Artha, the pursuit of wealth and success, controlled by dharma, under the limits of dharma. And moksha, enlightenment and freedom. This is what we are taught. But now, Muruganar notes, what Bhagavan Ramana says, the real moksha, real artha, real kama, real dharma, all of them are that self, the Atman consciousness. What is the really desirable thing? The Atman. Upanishad also says, Atma kama, the real desire, what we are actually looking for. And it's true. When we are looking for pleasure, searching for pleasure, we are always duped. No one, lifetime after lifetime in the search for happiness and pleasure, no one can claim, I have found the unending source, limitless source of happiness and I am fully satisfied. No one can claim except, it is possible, except the enlightened one. So, the real pleasure is that enlightenment which gives you access to your real nature, Atman, which is Ananda itself. Real Artha, the real acquisition in this world is the self, the Atman, which we seem to have forgotten by our ignorance. So, Artha is acquisition, wealth. The real wealth is that. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yang labdva na chaparam labham manyate tatovadhikam. Having attained which, acquired which, one does not think there is anything higher to be acquired. That is real Artha. And dharma, real morality, real ethics. What should you really do to be a really, really good person? Realize God. And moksha, of course. Moksha is literally possible only if you have self-realization. So that is a new formulation of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, which I read just yesterday. Bhagavan Ramana has just put it, one sentence he has put it out there. I have run out of time, but I think I said more or less covered the whole ground. So I'll do a peace chant, then we'll open it up for questions and interaction. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Pranamastu. I pray by the grace of Bhagavan, may this self-knowledge, which is our spiritual birthright, our heritage, may it dawn upon us in this very lifetime. I was just mentioning yesterday in the Gita class, dialogue between two monks, which I heard in the lecture. Very senior monks. They both are leaders of their own sampradaya. So one of the senior monks, he was talking to the other, and others were sitting and listening. He was saying, yes, it is all right, all these things, but Gita, Krishna has said, Bahunam janmanam ante, jnanavan mam prapadyate. At the end of many lifetimes, do you come to this realization when enlightened one really worships me, realizes me. So it takes many lifetimes. That's what we also are taught. The other monk replied in great excitement and joy. I'll tell you in Hindi what he said and translate. Yahi wo janma hai Mahatma ji, yahi wo janma hai, aakhri janma yahi hai. Yes, that final life in which you will realize, this is that life, this is that life. Don't think at the end of many lifetimes I will realize. No, this is that life. I will realize here. By the grace of God, what is not possible? Bhagavan Ramana himself realized in a split second as a teenager. It is possible instantly. Sri Ramakrishna said, somebody was saying, I have committed many sins. He said, that's a mountain of cotton. So what if you have committed many sins? It's a mountain of cotton. When the fire of self-realization comes, one matchstick enough to send the whole mountain burning up in a trice. What of that? In this life itself, by their grace, not by our effort, by their grace, we will realize. Certainly it is possible. I have no doubt about it at all. We just have to want it, and they will, by their grace, and wait for their grace, and they will give it. Questions? First, I will encourage all of us, including myself, let's get into the habit of saying the Atman, when we say the Atman is attributeless, let's also understand always within ourselves, we should say, I am without any attributes. Atman literally means I. It's a very good practice. Often the mind plays a trick. I understand my Atman is pure consciousness. No. My Atman is not like my kidney or my lungs or my liver. I am the Atman. So I understand I am pure consciousness. I understand I have no attributes. Let's talk in that way, or at least think in that way. Now your question is, but you're saying Ananda, bliss, great joy, and especially we see in the lives of the enlightened ones, actual joy, you see? In the face, there is joy radiating through, limitless joy. It's a shanta, this Ananda is a shanta, it's not excitement. This is the joy of the Atman, this Ananda, you see. This is the embodiment, what it looks like. Do they feel the joy? Yes. Do they feel great joy? Yes. But isn't it an attribute? Yes. But remember, this Ananda has two aspects. One is the Atman itself, which has no attribute at all. It is that very limitlessness of the attributeless Atman, which when reflected in the pure mind, Sattvika mind, gives rise to great joy, ecstasy. Again, I was reading yesterday, Muruganar, he writes, somebody asked Bhagavan. So this trembling, hair standing on the end, tears coming to the eyes. So these characteristics, he says, those are not directly related to the self. They are related to the sattvic mind of the sadhaka. When the self is realized, or when you have an intuition, some kind of breakthrough, then these things will be there. They may be there, more may be there, less may be there, they may not be there. That depends on the mind of the sadhaka. Here one must not have any doubt that, so there will be no joy. Our real problem is we want joy. So will joy be there or not? No doubt at all. There will be great joy. Unmatched joy, unparalleled joy. But technically, that feeling of joy which we have, the feeling of bliss which we have, is an expression of the mind. It's definitely a quality, it's an attribute. Any attribute can come and go. can increase and decrease. So this joy, it increases and decreases, it comes and goes, but it is a reflection of the real nature of the Atman. That Ananda, as Satchidananda, that Ananda, that is not an attribute. That is also not a feeling of joy. That is not something that increases or decreases. That is not something, it's like this. I'm quoting this from a very beautiful Marathi verse from the Sant Gyaneshwar, 13th century great enlightened master. So a yogi, very old yogi, according to the legends, he was a 1400-year-old yogi. Let's say not so old, but anyway, very old. When he heard of the young boy, Sant Gyaneshwar, who is enlightened, he had some questions. He said, this is a chance for me to meet this person who is fully enlightened. So he thought, I'd write the question and send it to him for answers. Then he thought, he got tangled up in his mind that what should I do? Do I do pranam salutations to him? But he's a teenager. I am a very senior yogi. But then on the other hand, should I send blessings? That does not sound right. He's enlightened. I am not enlightened yet. How can I give blessings to him? In this confusion, he sent the letter blank. He forgot to write the question. Sant Gyaneshwar understood the state of the mind of the yogi. He was a very advanced, great yogi. Changadev. So he wrote back 65 verses. This is called in Sanskrit, and I mean in the original Marathi, it's called Changadev Pashashti. 65 in Marathi, old Marathi, 13th century. Recently it has been translated by one of our monks, Swami Pitambaranji, and the English, beautiful English translation, word by word translation, whole verse. So our Abhijit, who is here, Jyoti, they worked on the translation. And thanks to them, I got a copy of that book. It is written that, so since they worked for the translation, I am thanking you for putting me in touch with them. That Swami wrote to me and sent me a copy. In that book, one of the verses is a very beautiful verse. It's a well-known example of pratibimba, of reflection, which is often used in Vedanta. But the way in which Gyaneshwar uses it, Sant Gyaneshwar uses it, that is unique. He says this: when you stand in front of a mirror, your face is reflected in the mirror. Right? Now that face which is reflected in the mirror, it is called a reflection. And the original face now gets a new name. In Sanskrit, the terms are very precise. Bimba pratibimba. The face in the mirror is the reflection. And reflection of what? What is the reflected face? This one. This one is the reflected face, and the face in the mirror, one in the mirror is the reflection of this face. Now, Gyaneshwar points out, when this phenomenon happens, actually nothing has happened to your face. Nothing at all has happened to your face. It's the same as it was. Just the presence of the mirror and the appearance of the reflection makes you call this the reflected face, and that is the reflection. But nothing actually has happened to the original face at all. Only a new name is given because of the appearance of the reflection. Similarly, pure consciousness itself, which is Satchidananda, appears as this world of objects through Maya, and immediately itself is now called the subject, although nothing has happened to you at all. Your reflection in the mirror is Ananda. Depending on the mirror, that reflection convex mirror will be one type, concave mirror will be, at all times nothing is happening to the face. It's not becoming convex or concave. Dirty mirror, one kind of reflection. Cracked mirror, one kind of reflection. Polished mirror, another kind of reflection. All throughout, reflections are different. Reflected face, the original face is perfectly alright. Now, follow this further. The reflection is experienced. You can see the reflection of the face. You cannot see your original face directly. The reflected face itself, the source cannot be seen, but the reflection can be seen. Similarly, the Ananda, which is experienced in the life of an enlightened person or a highly spiritual person, that is experienced. That's the reflected Ananda. And it is actually a reflection of the original. But the original is not a matter of experience, external experience. To externalize that experience, to make it an objective experience, you need a reflector. It's a copy, it's a reflection. And it depends on the reflecting medium. It will increase, it will decrease, it will be of various types, it will come and go. Those are certainly attributes. But that does not mean the original, that those attributes are in the original Atman or consciousness. It's a long and convoluted example, but I hope it makes the point. Always we have to identify ourselves not with the reflected face which we are seeing, but with the original. What is the reflected face which we are seeing? This body and the personality in this body, which we are sure of. I am that. It's like a person who by error somehow has forgotten this is my face and thinks that's me. No, that's not you. This is you. But the turn is what is enlightenment.
My second is a practical question. The Bhagavan says to meditate on physical heart because the eyes thought and but it's not a physical location.
You can make it a physical location also, because the physical heart, just close to the physical heart, is often in Vedanta, especially in yoga, in Tantra, in all the spiritual traditions. This area physically is supposed to be a good area for meditation. Do it this way. It's a practical way because the mind flickers so much. One thing is to lock the mind. How do you lock it? Space lock, time lock, object lock. Desha kala vastu paricheda. That means in the time of in your meditation, tell the mind you will not think of anything. Go anywhere means think of anything outside this space. You are locked into this space. Then the time of meditation. For the next 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, beginning now, ending after 30 minutes. In this time, you will not think of anything else except the object of meditation, whatever you are meditating on. It could be the source of the eye. And object of meditation. In this space and in this time, here is an object. I am meditating on Ramana. I am meditating on Krishna or Devi. Someone yesterday was telling me I meditate on Tripura Sundari. Good, Tripura Sundari. That will lock the mind into that object. So space lock here. Time lock from here to here, this time. Object lock, that Tripura Sundari I am meditating on. This is the way to meditate. But this is, for us to begin. And for us, it's already an advanced practice. What Ramana is saying is just one step away from realization.
My question is on Dharma. Bhagavan has very clearly attributed the role of Dharma in our life. So in that context, does free will actually exist? And if it doesn't, I think it doesn't matter.
Second question first is, no, it doesn't really matter. But it's a question which will keep coming up. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, this question is asked. In spiritual life, this question will come up. How much of it is up to us and how much of it is... Enlightened ones will always say there is really no free will. From their perspective. Swami Vivekananda said, free will is a misnomer, is a contradiction. And there is freedom, but when it becomes will, it's already determined. Will means, I will do this kind of intention. It's already within the realm of Maya. So it's already determined. There's a chain of cause and effect. Freedom is possible. As Atman, as Brahman, you are free. Consciousness is always free. Now, practically in day-to-day life, we must accept free will. Otherwise, nothing is possible. And not that we have any choice. We have no free will in accepting free will. Suppose you try, all right, now I'm convinced we have no free will. I will act as if I have no free will. And there also you are accepting free will. I will act in this way. No, we have no free will in that regard, that we have to accept free will. Imagine, everything in society is predicated upon human free will. That you came here today to listen to this talk. Why is that talk? Why is the information sent to you? So that you can decide whether to come or not. If you had no freedom, there's no use of telling you. You would come or you would not come. Now, consumer choice. Huge amounts are spent on advertisement, billions of dollars and all that. Why? Because the underlying principle is you have freedom of choice. You can buy this product or that product. And therefore, I'm trying to influence you to buy my product, not buy that other guy's product. To advertisement. Politics. All democracy, voting for this candidate or that candidate. What does it mean? You're assuming your free will. That's why I'm trying to convince you, vote for me, don't vote for the other guy. Politics. Then religion. Do this, do not do that. Based on what principle? You have the freedom of choosing. If you had no freedom, there's no use telling you. All religion and spirituality is based on accepting that you have some freedom of will. And that also, it's not something, as I said, practically doesn't make a difference, because even if we are convinced we have no free will, we will behave as if we have free will. You cannot stop it. When spiritual instructions are given, we are assuming that the person is able to choose and follow. If the person is not able to follow, why would you give any kind of spiritual instructions? It's no use. In the Bhagavad Gita, this thing is made very clear. The difference between the villain and the hero, Duryodhana and Arjuna, is very thin difference. And somebody asked, why did Krishna teach Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? Arjuna is already a good guy. If he had taught to the bad guy and transformed the bad guy into a good guy, that would have been really creditable for him, and he would have prevented the war. But Sri Krishna actually tried. In the Mahabharata, you will see, he tried. First thing he tried was to teach Duryodhana, but it didn't take. The teaching was not assimilated, was not accepted at all. What was Duryodhana's argument? His argument was, don't teach me this. Janami dharmam nachame pravritti. Janami adharmam nachame nivritti. You don't have to teach me what is right and wrong. You're telling me what you're doing is very wrong. Give the land to the Pandavas. That is the right thing to do, dharma. Don't teach me what is dharma and adharma, because I know. Then he says something very poignant, very perceptive. Duryodhana, my problem is not that I do not know what is dharma and adharma. I know what is dharma. I don't feel like doing it. I know what is adharma. I'm doing wrong. I know. You don't have to tell me. But my problem is not that. I can't stop myself from doing it. I want to do it. Why? The question will be why? Why don't you feel like doing what is good? Why can't you stop yourself from doing what is wrong? He says, Kenapi devena hridisthitena yatha niyojito asmi tatha karomi. By some power, some deity, some force in my heart, as I am impelled to do, I do. I can't stop it. I can't control myself. That is such a beautiful description of the human condition. We know philosophy, we know religion, we know morality, we know ethics. Sometimes we follow, sometimes we don't. What is the difference between sadhaka and ordinary person? One sadhu said, वैसे तो मंदिर सब कोई कभी ना कभी जाते हैं, वैसे तो भजन सब कोई कभी ना कभी करते हैं. People go to the temple once in a while, everybody does it. Listening to devotional songs, chanting, everybody does it once in a while. But what is the difference between us and the sadhaka, spiritual seeker, practitioner? That sadhu said, the sadhaka is one who will do what is anukula, what will take you to God realization, consistently keep doing that. What will take you away from God realization, consistently avoid it. We don't have that consistency. That's what is the problem. Now, what did Duryodhana say basically? To put it simply, he said, I don't have free will in this regard. I can't change. So no use teaching me. If you teach me, you need me to change. I can't change. He refused. Therefore, Krishna stopped. Krishna is a master teacher. In Gita also, he keeps quiet as long as Arjuna is complaining, my hands are trembling, Gandiva is following, how will I do this, how will I do this? Krishna just smiles and keeps quiet. When does Krishna speak? When Arjuna says, actually I don't know anything, please teach me. I can't understand what is right and wrong. You can teach me, please teach me. Then Krishna opens his mouth. Same thing Arjuna also asks Krishna. What Duryodhana said. Atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojita. Impelled by what does a person even unwillingly do wrong things? I want to be a good person, but once in a while I make mistakes. I do the wrong thing. I say the wrong thing, I behave in the wrong way. I think wrong things. Why? He asked this question. Notice the difference. Duryodhana gave an answer, didn't ask a question. He said, there is some force. Arjuna says, why? How can I change this? Then Krishna says, then he says, the Rajoguna, that is this Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna Samudbhava, Mahashano, Mahapapma, Vidhi Vairinam Esha. That anger and lust, born of Rajas, this is the great enemy and especially the enemy of the sadhaka, the spiritual seeker. And how to control that, how to transmute that, how to go towards God realization, all that Krishna teaches. But on the crucial one, turned on this one point, do you accept your free will? Are you ready to change or not? If you're ready to change, all of this will work. Not ready to change, none of it will work. And so there also, I'm not consistently ready to change. I'm ready right now. You've told me I'm energized, but afterwards I will again become like this. Doesn't matter. As long as we are willing to change. We may fall down several times.
I was listening to a lecture on scholars, the three types of talking about the one that's caused by nature, the second type is caused by things that are surrounding, the third one is caused by disease. And looking at near the real world next to me, I find that the sorrow that's caused by pain and suffering and disease is the one that causes the most frustration, and I find that those people are the ones who remove themselves away from the source more. They identify themselves so much with the body that they say, oh, I'm always going to say, I'm always going to say. And that can happen to anybody, even you know. So how do you support such people and how do you handle themselves in this?
First of all, one must practice spiritual disciplines long before that problem comes. When the problem has come with a serious sickness and pain in the body, then you start being spiritual, it will not work. It's very difficult then. By some great grace it may work, but mostly it will not work. Unless I have practiced earlier, unless I have had some interest earlier. At that moment, one sadhu said, it's like when your house is on fire, you start digging a well to get water. It's too late. So in our lives and in the lives of others, we must have a spiritual quest. You may do it in this self-inquiry way Bhagavan has taught, or you may do it as a bhakta, you may do it in whichever way. Some serious spiritual quest must be there. Then that becomes ours. Now what does that do? In times of disease, of loss, of shock, of chronic illness. In old age, many chronic problems come. Acute is it comes and goes, but chronic it will stay. Now how will you deal with that? Chronic pain, and chronic feeling unwell, all of these things, physical problems. Kabir Das, that very well-known doha is there, that dukh mein sumire sab koi, sukh mein sumire na koi. No, just the opposite. No, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. सुख में सुमिरे सब कोई, दुख में सुमिरे न कोई. जो दुख में जो सुख में सुमिरन करे उसको दुख काहे को है. दुख में सुमिरे सब कोई. In sorrow, everybody remembers God, in the sense that people pray to God when they are in trouble. But when everything is going well, people don't pray to God. But when everything is going well, if you start praying at that time, if you start have a connection with God, then why will you have sorrow? Now, there's a very subtle point here. One Swami drew the attention to this. One lady, she asked this question. Actually, for me, the problem is opposite. When things are going well, I am interested in spiritual life. When things are difficult, physical problem, some household problem, some kind of crisis comes up, then I don't feel like, Vedanta, meditation, prayer, I don't feel like that. In sorrow, I don't feel like it. Although Kabir Das says, in sorrow, everybody remembers. In joy, everybody forgets. But in times of joy, if you remember, then why will sorrow come to you? Dukh kahe ko hoy. So this lady says, my problem is the opposite. When things are going well, I am interested in spirituality. It's only when things are tough, problems come, then I forget. That Swami made a very perceptive observation. He said, no, this is not possible. When you say that I am interested in spiritual life in times of joy, in times of happiness, when things are comfortable and smooth, then I am enjoying spiritual life. You are not enjoying spiritual life. You are enjoying the comfortable and smooth conditions. So when those go away, the comfortable and smooth conditions go away, problems come, physical, relationship, financial, then my attention immediately goes there. Because my joy was coming from those comfortable conditions. Not from my japa, not from my chanting, not from my meditation, not from my Vedanta. That was not the source of my joy. The joy was things are nice in this world. The moment the things change, the joy has gone. And the interest in spiritual life also goes away at that point. Now the thing is, he says, this is the recommendation. When things are going well, at that time, practice seriously and see internally that my peace comes from my meditation. My joy, my sense of security, my inner bliss, it comes from my Vedanta, from my self-inquiry, from this whole spiritual teaching and practice. That's the source of my joy. When things are going well now outside, so when those things outside change, I will still have this, more I will catch hold of. Because now outside there is no help outside. Only God is my help. Only my spiritual practices is the source of joy. That is the meaning of Kabir Das. He says, Usko dukh kahe ko hoye. He says, why will that person have sorrow? It's not that the spiritual seeker will not have sorrow. We see in the lives of spiritual seekers, they have many sorrows. Many problems come. By our prarabdha karma, problems will keep coming one after another. So, what Kabir Das means is, if your joy, your peace, your security is from your spiritual practice, in the midst of difficult circumstances also, that spiritual practice will keep giving you meaning in life, strength in life, peace in life. So the outside circumstances, dukh kahe ko hoy means dukh will come, but it will not affect you internally. Then in the times of joy, in the times of sorrow, that source of peace and joy and security is constant because it is internal, it is spiritual, it's not dependent on external world. Should we wrap up? We have. Yes, the gentleman at the back.
The Ramana has three levels in his teachings. Vrishti is created, and we see it, Vrishti is seen, and then by the seeing it's created an acharya. None of that. But I think this Vrishti, and then he said, the ritual seeker should go to Vrishti. So that's like, it's a dream. You see and you create. So all this now is a dream. You are a dream. All what you said is just a dream. And for you, I am a dream. And that's a little bit confusing.
Yeah. Notice that one thing is not a dream. That consciousness which is experiencing, that sentience, that awareness which is experiencing the dream, that cannot be a dream. You, the experiencer of the dream, you cannot be a dream. To yourself. Try dismissing yourself as a dream, you cannot. You will always be the remainder. When you have dismissed the world, you have dismissed all beings, when you have dismissed your own body, even your thoughts as a dream, you will still remain as the witness of that dismissal. Nisheda avadhi, that's a Sanskrit word, the limit of negation. You yourself, that consciousness is the limit of negation. You cannot dismiss yourself. Everything else can be seen as a dream. Whatever we experience can be seen as dream-like. It can be seen as real, as we do common sense. That is called srishti drishti. But what you said is drishti srishti. It can be seen as a dream because it's an appearance in awareness. But the awareness itself is not a dream. So what is done here is, this is traditional Vedanta. Bhagavan Ramana's three tiers of teaching. Srishti drishti, drishti srishti, and ajata. These are, if you translate them, creation and then experience. Seeing itself is creation, non-creation. The universe is unborn. There is no non-origination. So three levels. Creation, then seeing. That's level one. Seeing is creation, level 2. Third, no creation at all, or non-origination. Srishti Drishti, Drishti Srishti, Ajata. What's all this about? All this is about the world. See, there is not very difficult to realize that I am awareness. It's very easy to point out I am awareness. But now the question arises about what I am aware of. What am I aware of? I am aware of this world, of people, of animals and plants, of non-living things. And I'm aware of this body. I'm aware of sounds and sights and smells and taste and touch. And when I look into my inner life, I'm aware of thoughts, I'm aware of memories, I'm aware of desires, I'm aware of waking, dreaming, and even deep sleep. It's all that I'm aware of. This is called the world. Jagat. And this world itself has 3 levels. One is a physical level, this one. Physical. The other one is a subtle level. Internally in each of our minds, thoughts, emotions, ideas, memories are there. Sukshma. And beyond all of that is a seed level called Karana, from which all of these are emerging. Now, what is this world? Advaita has 3 ways of dealing with it. Remember, the central teaching of Advaita remains constant, that you are pure consciousness. That's constant. Now, what about the world? What about the body? What about the mind? What about the person me? 3 levels of dealing with it. One is that this is real. It's real. God has created it, or Big Bang created it, a world exists, and you have come into the world in the middle of this existence of the world. It existed before you are born, and it will continue to exist after you die, and we have come into it in this embodied being. Now start your Vedanta Vichara, Vedanta inquiry. Step by step, we will show you, you are Brahman. This is a common sense approach. This is most acceptable, because this is how we ordinarily think. We don't ordinarily think the world is a dream. We ordinarily think the world is real. And this is real, this is real. Dreams are different. This is a real waking world. So, taking the common man's perspective as the starting point, if you teach Vedanta, that is called Srishti Drishti Vada. The procedure based on first God or Big Bang or whatever created the universe, and then we are seeing it. The world exists even if you don't see it. Common sense. And that's most acceptable. And that's how most of the acharyas have taught. Even most of the commentaries of Shankaracharya are all based on this common sense approach. Otherwise, people will not be able to grasp it. Now, higher than this, why higher I will tell you, but higher than this is a second level. Don't treat this world as if it exists apart from you, as if it exists independently from you, as if it exists prior to you. Rather, treat this world as a dream. The things in the dream, the people in the dream, the objects in the dream, the activities and actions, events in the dream, they have no existence apart from the dream. So you have pizza in the dream. Now you can't say it's time to wake up, let me put the pizza in the fridge and tomorrow when I dream I will come and eat the pizza. You cannot. The moment you wake up, the fridge, pizza, everything is gone. Because it all existed only in the dream. It was an appearance in the dream. The moment the dreaming stopped, it has no existence apart from you, the dreamer. Now, Drishti Srishti Vada, seeing is creation. It asks us to do this mighty task. Can you regard the waking world as a dream? I am aware, this world is appearing in my awareness, and this world has no existence apart from my awareness. Apart from me, the awareness. It's an appearance in awareness. It's not a separate, independent, existing entity which I thereafter go on to become aware of. No. It's an appearance in awareness. What is this awareness? I am the awareness. Like a dream. Dream is the example. That is called Drishti Srishti Vada. A lot of Bhagavan Ramana's teachings are from that perspective. It's an advanced perspective. Why? Because the path to realization is much faster there, much more direct. But why is it more advanced? Why is it that not common? In fact, Madhusudan Saraswati in one place, in a commentary on called Siddhanta Bindu, on Shankaracharya's Dashashloki, He says, Mukhya Siddhanta, Drishti Shrishti Vada is the main teaching of Advaita Vedanta. Is actually mainstream. That's what Advaita wants to base itself on. But for easier communication, if you just start by saying the world is a dream, not many takers will say your teaching is a dream. Like you said, you are a dream, your teaching is a dream. So it's difficult. Who can do it? Who can do it? It requires great vairagya and purity of mind. What gives reality to this world? What gives reality to this world? We give reality to this world. Why do we give reality to this world? Because of our desires. We want this world to be real. I've seen a lot of resistance. Here I can say openly, because this is a Ramana ashram. I've seen in other circumstances, in other gatherings, more general gatherings, there's always a kind of resistance to the Advaitic teaching, world is false. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, there's a resistance. Why do you say the world is false? I don't say anything there, but my inner question is, what is your objection? Suppose the world is false. Why does it upset you so much? I'm not saying you are false. I'm saying you are Brahman, you are infinite. We want the world to be real. Even our sufferings also, we want it to be real. But mainly because of our desires. If the world is not real, then our desires are also not real. Who desires things in the movie? In the movie, many attractive things are shown. We may even be attracted to it, but we're not seriously, because we know it's just a picture. We don't take it seriously. Many terrifying things may be shown, horror movie, but we are not scared by it, because we know it's a picture. For the sake of the movie, we may be scared for a moment. But we will all applaud. Oh, wonderful. Wow, wow, wow. What a nice movie. Give Oscar. Because we know it's not real. World will not tempt you, will not terrify you if you regard it as a dream. Seriously, if you regard it as a dream. You will be saved from temptation and terror. Now, a counter was proposed once to me that, no, even if we regard the world as unreal, like a dream, a person may now say that I can do anything now, it's a dream, it's not real. All immoral things also a person may do, because I'll just say it is not real. So there's an example of a sadhu who came to Sri Ramakrishna, who was telling lies. And Sri Ramakrishna asked him, you're a sadhu, why are you telling lies? And sadhu said, come, I will explain to you. You see, this world itself is a lie. You say, Jagat Mithya, Maya. Why you are catching my lie on that? No, there is a mistake in that. That person does not regard the world as unreal. That sadhu does not regard the world as a dream. If we regard, why do we do wrong things? Think about it. Because of temptation or terror. Either we are afraid, if I tell the truth, then some harm will come to me. Or we are attracted. If I tell the truth, then I will not get what I want in this world. In both cases, I regard the harm as real, or I regard the gain as real. I regard the world as real. That's only if you truly regard the world as real, then you immoral things. Even a person who says, it's all Maya, so I can do whatever I like. But that do whatever I like means you don't regard it as Maya. You regard it as real. Now you're using that Maya theory as an excuse only. So, who can do the Drishti Shrishti Vada? It is the one who has a pure mind, who has a strong will, and who can regard the world as a dream. Great vairagya, dispassion. I don't care. My only goal is self-realization. I am Brahman. What do I care about this world of 2 days? It will be gone tomorrow. Why should I care? Nothing of this world can scratch me. So, that is the requirement. But then Drishti Shrishti Vada works very quickly, takes you to enlightenment. We have to be careful there. Shankaracharya, most of his commentaries are from Srishti Drishti Vada perspective. I asked Gaudapada, Mandukya Karika, most of his approach is Drishti Srishti Vada, the opposite. And Ajata Vada, that will come later. I asked one monk there about God's perceived difference between Gaudapada and Shankara. Both of them teach Brahman, non-dual Brahman. You are Brahman, that's the central teaching. But about the world, they seem to have a difference. Shankara takes a practical, Vyavaharika Satyam. This world is a practical reality, relative reality. And Gaudapada seems to dismiss it as a dream, this world. Or even Ajata, we'll see. So that sadhu said to me that Shankaracharya to Jagat Guru the na. He's a world teacher. That's why he has to pull everyone along. He cannot start by saying world is a dream. Most people will walk away. Goodbye. I don't want, I'm not interested. Start where I am. A good teacher will start where I am. I regard the world as real. Can you teach me Advaita if I regard the world as real? Yes. Come to Srishti Drishtivada. But a higher teaching is Drishti Srishtivada, which Gaudapada did. So I asked if Shankaracharya Jagat Guru, what is Gaudapada? Gaudapada kya the? And then the sadhu answered, wo to bahut bhakkad Mahatma the. In the Himalayas, the bhakkad Mahatma means a person who does not care, who is a desperate, who has tremendous dispassion, who does not care even for the existence, whether the body lives or dies, does not care. It's easier to be like that if you are a monk. Easier. Not that all monks can do it, but easier. You really have actually physically cut off all links with the world. Only link is with the body and your little bhiksha you will get at a cottage where you are staying. I know of monks who beg for food and have stayed out in the open years and years and years, under a tree, on the bank of a river, in a temple, maybe sometimes in a temple. No cottage, no cave also. And food, whatever chance will bring. Vivekananda says, the grass thy bed, the sky thy roof. Food, whatever chance brings. No food or drink can taint that noble self which knows itself. Then comes Ajatavada. Even further, more crazy. What is the nature of the world? Is it real? No. Is it a dream? No. Then what is it? It is not. Brahman alone exists. Once we asked a very senior Swami, what is this Ajatavada? Can you explain to us? It's a long story, I will cut it short. So the senior Swami Mumukshanand, he was passed away now. Wonderful old Swami. So a philosopher was there. He had many doubts. So someone said to him, you saw that Swami has come, you can ask all your doubts. He'll clear up your doubts. So the philosopher said, Swami, what is the practice of Ajatavada? The theory of non-origination. Remember, this is the final step. In Srishti Drishti, in Drishti Srishti, in Ajatavada, everywhere it is the same teaching. You are Brahman. That's constant. Not that by Ajatavada you will get some superior, improved Brahman plus, latest version, upgraded. No. Realization will be the same. Only the way of dealing with the world, the procedure is different. In Ajatavada, it's straight away, one step. In Srishti Srishtivada, it's 2 steps. And this Srishti Srishtivada, it's 3 steps. So, he was asked that what is the practice of Ajatavada, non-origination? And he told a story. He says, suppose there is a child who grew up in the forest and who has never seen furniture. So his father says, I will show him what is furniture, and takes him to the village, to the headman's house, who is well-to-do, who has nice furniture in his house. And then he says to the child, boy, see, this is table, this is a chair. And the boy looks and says, where is the table? Where is the chair? I just see wood. Yeah, wood. If you tell me this is a lectern, Swami, where is the lectern? This is wood. No, this is lectern. How is this a lectern? Which part of it is the lectern? Is this part lectern, but this is wood? Is this part the lectern? This is wood. Is that part the lectern? That is wood. Where is the lectern apart from the wood? Show me. Other than the wood, if you say this is lectern, this is mobile. I can understand. It's mobile. This is lectern. But show me the lectern here, the table here apart from the wood. You cannot. The table is a name and a form and a function. Nama, Rupa, Vyavahara. And the boy saw the reality, which is wood, wood, wood. Now the enlightened one sees Brahman, only Brahman. When you say, but what about the world? He'll say, what world? Where is the world? While seeing the world, he'll say, where is the world? Everything, his attention is entirely on Brahman, on being in that presence. So that is Ajatavada. The way to understand this, one good way, is waking, dreaming, deep sleep. Take the waking paradigm, explain Advaita, it becomes Srishti Drishtivada. Take the dream paradigm, explain Advaita, it becomes Drishti Srishtivada. Take the deep sleep paradigm, explain Advaita, it becomes Ajatavada, non-origination. Thank you for that very good but very deep question. Shall we wrap up now?
If I am the knower of this body,
Yes.
I am the same knower of the several bodies around me. On a Vyavaharika, how do you, because you have to transact with the people around you, how do you deal with Duryodhanas and Dushasana around you?
Okay. Two things. One subtle philosophical point and then a practical point. 2 points. One is, notice what you said. As I am the knower in this body, so you are telling me I am the knower in all these bodies. Not the knower. Knowers are many. As many bodies and minds, so many knowers. But the consciousness is one in all of them. The consciousness apart from the knower. In Sanskrit, these terms are very precise. Sakshi Pramata. Pramata is knower. How many Pramatas? As many bodies. See, right now we are all sitting. Each one of us has a different perspective. Because we are different position we are sitting. So the knowers, your knowledge, your way of seeing this hall is different from his way of seeing. And that's different from her way of seeing. That's different from my way of seeing. We are all different pramatas. But we are not different consciousness. So the pramata, knower, and the consciousness are different. The consciousness illumines the mind and becomes a knower or functions as a knower. It's like in a barber shop you sit and then you're surrounded by a hairdressing salon, you're surrounded by mirrors. You will see dozen, 100 reflections of your face. One real face, 100 reflections. Those pramatas are like those reflections. The real face is like consciousness. So that's one important philosophical point. So that's why it explains. Suppose someone might ask, if we are all one knower, why can I know the contents of my mind, but I can't know the content of your mind? Because the knower is different. The consciousness is the same. Now, practically you'd say, suppose if you're saying we are all one, how will I deal with the Duryodhanas of this world? This is a practical answer, the second point. Sri Ramakrishna's example of the tiger Narayana. All are Narayana, but you cannot embrace the tiger Narayana. What will happen? The tiger will embrace you. Remember, until we are fully enlightened, you can even embrace the tiger Narayana, the tiger will eat you up, you can be fine with that. But until we reach that full realization, we have something to do in this world. The worldly person protects himself or herself because they have something in this world. The spiritual person also will protect himself or herself because we have something to realize in this world. Enlightenment, God realization, self-knowledge. Until that is achieved, you must be careful. Since you have a goal, moksha is your goal, Brahma-jnana is your goal. Don't let the world spoil your sadhana. I'm so open to everything. Everybody comes and ruins my life. No good. You must protect, you have a project, a multi-millionaire. As a project, will be very careful about the money. A person doing a PhD will be very careful about the time and energy because I have to devote all this time to get that degree. Person raising a family, aren't you very careful about protecting your family? And day and night you're engaged in nurturing and nourishing that family. Similarly, sadhana, to lead to enlightenment. The sadhaka is very careful there. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of the tail of the snake. If you step on the tail of the snake, immediately the snake will raise its hood. So, God realization, spirituality is the tail of the snake for us, for all spiritual seekers. We are not worldly. To the world, we can be kind and considerate to as much as possible as far as worldly things are concerned. But don't let people disturb your sadhana. Don't let people disturb your spiritual life. You are engaged in the greatest adventure that human beings can and one day or the other, everyone will have to come to this path, to a spiritual path. So we are lucky and blessed that we are on this path. Let us take it very seriously, as seriously as Sri Ramakrishna says, the rich man about, the miserly man about his wealth, how miserly they are. Then the loving spouse about their husband and wife, how loving they are. And the parent, intense attraction to the young child, how careful they are. Combine all three And the spiritual person should be like that, about spirituality, about God realization. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pranam Swamiji. Thank you very much. I don't know how to even say, and I always say, no, but I have to say one thing about the humility and the humbleness of Swamiji, which apart from all he talks about Vedanta and other things, is the humility. I always say, you need not know Swami Sarvapriyananda even to speak to him. You need not know, you just speak to him, he will speak to everybody in the same way. That is the greatness. And I hope and pray that you will come back again and enlighten us about all the Vedantic teachings going further. Thank you and Pranam Swami.